Hello all sentient beings and welcome to Transmissions Alt Mode, where we talk about all the news, comics, and media related to thee. On this episode, we review IDW Publishing's Last Bot Standing number 3. We've got all the SDCC scoop on the upcoming Transformers EarthSpark cartoon, and Apollo gives us her personal recap of last week's CybFest Northwest Transformers convention. Today is Friday, July 29th, 2022, and this is episode 296 of Transmissions Alt Mode.
Welcome to Transmissions Alt Mode, the podcast that only drinks Energon because it gives you wheels. I'm your host Charles, aka Big C, and I'm joined by the excellent Transmissions team. Jeremy, aka Yakko.
Hey, how's it going?
Apollo, aka Robo Apollo.
Hi, everyone.
And Daryl, the Cybertronian Beast.
Hey everybody, let's talk Transformers.
As always, we start off the show by thanking our Donatreons, those lovely people who support us on Patreon and PayPal. Thank you all so much for continuing to help us out and support the show. We really appreciate it. And this week, you all got access to the bonus uncut early episode of Empire of Rust, episode 81, our Transformers Live Play RPG podcast. Episode 81, Reservoir Bears. So that was available and is already still available to everyone on our Patreon page. But this Monday, August 1st, will be the regular episode that will be available in the free Empire of Rust feed for everyone to listen to. So the fully edited final version of the episode will be out then. So take a listen if you haven't heard it already and enjoy the next thrilling episode of our Transformers Live Play RPG podcast, Empire of Rust.
Stop! Bear, stop, 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 bears.
Are you done?
The bears?
Okay, we're moving on. And let's jump right into some comics news. So we have IDW's Solicitations for October 2022. We are getting down to the wire, close to the end. And October, not a lot of new comics coming out. We've got Shattered Glass 2, Volume 2, Number 3. And this is the issue that will focus on Slicer, the repaint of Wheeljack, which was it was a Decepticon Action Master. That was a repaint of Action Master Wheeljack. Now it's Shattered Glass. But Shattered Glass, I thought it was opposites. So I thought it would be an evil Wheeljack, but no, it's actually just Slicer. But it's not. It's Decepticon Slicer, but he's still evil and he's not good. I'm confused. I don't know what's going on with Shattered Glass. So I get we'll have to wait till the comic actually comes out so we can figure out what's going on. But it is not evil Wheeljack. It is Slicer. That is the character. So I don't know. It's a mystery. We also have another trade paperback. This is Transformers Best of Grimlock, and I guess they're finishing up the IDW run with a bunch of these collections, Best of series. We had Best of, what do we have? We had Best of Megatron, Best of Optimus Prime, Best of Hot Rod, Best of the Beasts, Best of the Rarities.
Soundwave.
Now we have Best of Grimlocks. Did we have a Best of Soundwave?
I thought so. I thought there was a Best
I
of
don't
Soundwave.
think so.
No? There should have been.
Daryl's just making them up.
Best of Bumblebee.
But this Best of Grimlock has Transformers 84 Secrets and Lies number 4, Victory, and that's from the Transformers Annual 1986 in the UK. Devices and Desires, that's from Transformers Generation 2 number 4. Grimlock the Rebel from Transformers King Grimlock number 1. Kill All Cons from Transformers Lost Light number 15. And more. So there's even more things there, but we don't know what else is going to be in there. So lots of good stuff. Check it out. Now, particular the UK, some of those the UK annual. That's a rare thing you're not going to see very often. I do have that UK annual, so that's cool. But it's nice to it's very interesting to get. Of course, Simon Furman was a big Grimlock fan and wrote a lot of Grimlock stories, a lot of seminal Grimlock stories. So you should check them out. And of course, the Secrets and Lies, that was a Simon Furman project too. Okay, that's all the comics news. We still do not know where the license is going after the IDW run ends in December. Still no announcements. We thought maybe SDCC would give us some hints, a tease, but no. So nothing yet. Stay tuned. Okay, let's move on to our comic review. This week we are reviewing Last Bot Standing number 3. Written by Nick Roche, art by E.J. Sue and Nick Roche, colors by Rebecca Nalty, letters and design by Joanna Natalie, assistant editor Riley Farmer, and editor David Marriott. So we have 5 covers. First up, cover A is Wheelie, the Veteran by Nick Roche and Josh Burcham. Cover B is Rodimus Remembering the Autobots of the Past. That's by John Allison. Cover C is Rodimus vs. Steeljaw vs. Shib by Evan Gaunt. Cover D is Shib and Rodimus by Mina Wan. And the retailer incentive cover is Rodimus, Shib, Moon, and the Alderman, and that's by E.J. Sue. So, Apollo, which of these covers do you find most appealing?
For me, cover C was the most appealing to me. I really like how much energy is on the cover. It's very anime looking to me. And it also references what happens in the story a bit. So I really liked that cover the best.
Cool. Jeremy, which cover are you picking?
I have to agree. The cover C, it's like a Western anime. And I love it. Particularly, I think the way Shib is drawn, I don't know. It's just like Apollo said, the energy in this image is just, it's great. So yeah, I love it.
All right. And Daryl, which cover are you picking?
Well, if you remember from trips to the store back on Wednesday, you'll know exactly which cover I'm picking, and it's the cover that I bought, which was cover C, the one that everyone is picking. I really liked the way that it was laid out. I'm not a huge fan of anime art, but this one really spoke to me. I really liked the energy, like everyone has really been saying. It's really laid out really well. So yeah, cover C for me.
Well, I also agree that cover C is a great looking cover. I really like the image there, but I am actually going to pick cover A because I am amused by Wheelie becoming this veteran figure of reverence to all the other Transformers. It is a bit of a spoiler. Unfortunately, it's kind of a big spoiler for the issue that they just put it on the cover. So I guess, it's not supposed to be that big of a reveal, I guess. But and Nick Roche drew this cover, so he's the one writing the story. So I guess he didn't intend it to be much of a mystery if he's putting it on the cover. I thought it was just funny to see Wheelie sitting there, and he's just a head on 2 wheels. And all the other Transformers are kneeling and not quite worshiping him, but paying their respects to him. So I thought it was funny. And that is by Nick Roche and Josh Burcham. So colors by Josh Burcham, of course. His colors always make things better. So that's the covers. Let's jump into the story. We start with a look back into the past. For generations, Shib's ancestors have passed down a box given to them from the Cybertronians hiding on their planet. Their family must safeguard their secret against the day that they might be needed. Now, finally, in Shib's time, they are. Back in the present, Rodimus despairs that he couldn't protect Shib or any of her people from these new Cybertronians coming to use them for fuel and destroy their civilization. The other Cybertronians can't understand why Rodimus is so upset. Wedge, a former Autobot, explains to former Predacon Scylla that older Cybertronians used to actually form bonds with biological life forms and treat them like people, before the last Cybertronians realized they could be used as a cheap and easy fuel source, of course. Some of the other Autobots are skeptical, but the veteran is brought online and confirms that the old stories are true. All the other Cybertronians kneel in respect and deference to the veteran, their oldest living Cybertronian. Rodimus looks and is shocked to discover that the veteran is Wheelie, or at least Wheelie's head. Rodimus asks how he ended up this way. Wheelie no longer rhymes, but speaks in haiku in remembrance of the long-destroyed and forgotten Earth. Wheelie tells him that after ages of damage and degeneration, his body was beyond repair, but the other Cybertronians were able to preserve his head and keep him alive. But the preservation of these last Cybertronians comes at the price of any and all organic species they come across in the universe. Rodimus is horrified at what his former friend and fellow Autobot Wheelie has become. Steeljaw tries to assure Rodimus that the Cybertronians will record and preserve any of the customs or culture of the species they consume for posterity. But this is the only way for their race to survive. There is no more energon, and these last bots have converted their systems to only run on biofuel. So it would take too much effort to reconfigure them back to processing energon, and it wouldn't be worth it unless they found a significant supply. They are now committed to living off of organic life forever. Steeljaw begs Rodimus to let them convert him as well so that he can join with the last of his kind. Rodimus is not swayed by Steeljaw's words. He condemns these bots as mass murderers of trillions of lives on a galactic scale. With one final act of defiance, Rodimus uses the last of his strength to spit in Steeljaw's face. Steeljaw is more confused than offended, and he will continue with his mission. Even if Rodimus doesn't care to live on at the cost of countless organic life, Steeljaw is going to make that choice for him. Preservation of Cybertronian life is all that matters. Steeljaw orders half of the bots to accompany him to the nearby alien settlement to start rounding up the organic life for processing. He orders Wild Wheel to make sure that Rodimus is fed on the one organic they captured and make sure the machinery and breeding equipment is set up. Rodimus is even more horrified as he realizes that the people of this planet will not only be slaughtered for food, but their children and all future generations will continue to be bred like farm stock. After Steeljaw and most of the other bots have left, Moon is curious about interacting with lower life forms and decides to talk to Shib before she is processed for fuel. Shib begs to be allowed to say goodbye to her friend Rodimus before they end her. Moon still can't understand how anyone could form emotional attachments to their food source. Wild Wheel interrupts Moon's activity and tells them to stop messing around and get the resource ready for Rodimus to consume. Shib continues to plead for a final moment with Rodimus. Rodimus sees her struggling and is surprised and happy to see Shib is still alive, at least for a little while longer. The other bots are not interested in indulging her request and ignore Shib's cries. But Wheelie still remembers when Autobots used to befriend humans and other organic species. He tells the other bots to stand down and allow Shib and Rodimus their final moment together. Moon lets Shib go, and she runs to Rodimus to give him a hug. Rodimus starts to apologize for failing her, but Shib cuts him off. She reaches into her shirt and pulls out the key with a vial of glowing liquid on a necklace that she'd hid from everyone. The key fits into a hole in the middle of the Autobot symbol on Rodimus's chest. She inserts it, and Rodimus's chest glows with light. Suddenly, Rodimus's whole body is restored and repaired. His systems have been completely re-energized by the potent hit of distilled energon he just received. The other bots are stunned by his transformation, but Wheelie knows they're now in trouble. Rodimus immediately springs into action, fighting the other bots. First, he destroys their processing plant so they can't mass murder the local species. The other bots are enraged, and Wild Wheel wants some revenge. He throws a jagged metal pipe at Shib, aiming to make her mush the old-fashioned way. Rodimus can't save her, but Moon does. Moon steps in front of Shib, taking the metal spike through the eye. Moon gives their life for Shib, agreeing with Rodimus that it's not right for the Cybertronians to live at the expense of all other life. Wild Wheel is distraught at having killed another Cybertronian when there are so few of them left, but he doesn't get time to mourn. Rodimus takes the opportunity of the distraction to shove Wild Wheel's head onto the same metal spike, impaling and killing him instantly. Then he goes to check and make sure that Shib is okay. But Shib is still hesitant to trust Rodimus after seeing all the violence he perpetrated. She asks, is he really the good guy? Meanwhile, Wheelie tells the other two bots to drive into town and warn Steeljaw about what has happened. Then Wheelie turns to Rodimus, angry at his betrayal. Rodimus tells Wheelie he's the one who has betrayed everything the Autobots once were with his endless slaughter. Wheelie attacks Rodimus the only way he can as a disembodied head. He bites at Rodimus's ankles. Rodimus is not impressed and just kicks Wheelie's head into the atmosphere. Rodimus transforms into his car mode and tells Shib to get in. They have to catch the other bots before they reach the town and warn Steeljaw. Rodimus asks if Shib still has the other two keys in addition to the one she just used. Shib says yes, they are hidden at her house. Rodimus needs to get them before the other bots find them. But as they're talking, Shib realizes that there were 3 keys because there used to be 3 bots, not just Rodimus. Rodimus says she's right and tells the full story. When they first arrived on this planet Donacht, Shib's species was just beginning to emerge into intelligence. The bots didn't want to interfere with another species after all the Cybertronians had done on other worlds, so they stayed hidden. Their original plan was to just live in obscurity and fade away, but they knew it could be possible. They weren't the last Cybertronians. To guard against this possibility, they watched as Shib's ancestors grew and their civilization formed. They selected the most trustworthy people, Shib's direct progenitors, to give the box and instructions and preserve them against the day they would be needed. And now that day has come. Shib asks what happened to Rodimus's friends. Gripper had an accident and fell off of a cliff. They had neither the resources nor skill to repair him, so they had to watch him die. Strong Arm snapped and wanted to take their ship and leave Donacht, searching for other Cybertronians. Rodimus tried to shoot her ship down before she could leave the planet and wound up destroying it with her inside. And that left Rodimus alone. Last bot standing. He returned to Shib's family and stayed in vehicle mode as a wagon for her family could use that was passed along through several generations down to her. As Rodimus' story concludes, they catch up to the 2 bots on their way to town. Rodimus is back in good fighting condition and with some smooth moves is able to take down both bots with little trouble. But he has to finish the job. Before they move on, he makes sure both bots are dead by smashing their heads in. He transforms back to car mode and they continue on. Meanwhile, Steeljaw and the other bots have arrived at the town. The inhabitants flee, but the bots have experience with rounding up the resources. Steeljaw directs the work, but then he's distracted by the body of his comrade, Nitro. Steeljaw and his sister Sharpclaw can't believe another of their race has fallen. Riot Gear wants to get revenge on the Organics, but Steeljaw corrects him. They didn't kill Nitro, Rodimus did. And Sharpclaw smells Cybertronian technology nearby. Rodimus was hiding something here after hiding on this planet for eons. They trace the smell to Shib's house and rip it apart to find Shib's secret box. In addition to the Energon keys, there is also a data tablet. They activate the tablet and listen to the message Rodimus left there. Finally, Rodimus and Shib have arrived at town to see the devastation the Cybertronians have wrought. But Rodimus vows they will save her people and end the threat of the Cybertronians for good. Just then, Steeljaw and the other remaining bots return from Shib's house, and they have Shib's brothers hostage. Rodimus tells Steeljaw he won't leave this planet alive, and Steeljaw responds that Nitro didn't deserve to be executed by a fellow Cybertronian. As they stare each other down, Steeljaw tells Rodimus he's found his secret and shows him the Energon keys and data tablet. And that is where we end the story, to be continued with the final issue of Last Bot Standing. So I really like this issue and this series in general. It's been a really fun story. This one had a great mix of action and storytelling here, like the having Rodimus being restored. Of course, we that little key that Shib wore was telegraphed for the last 2 issues that it was going to be something to do with the Transformers, and it was. And seeing Rodimus get restored to full health and looking pretty cool was a nice reveal there. I also liked his he's pretty brutal. This Rodimus is pretty brutal in taking down the other Cybertronians. He killed 4, or well, I guess he killed 3, and then one just died accidentally. So, but Rodimus has been throwing down in this series. He's been killing a lot of bots. And then I guess he kicked Wheelie. Wheelie flew away, but we don't know if he's dead. Maybe he'll burn up in the atmosphere. I guess we'll see. But I really enjoyed this issue. I like the storytelling. It also gives you a sense of just the scale of how long Transformers live, where they basically could watch a species evolve and develop. It's probably, again, back in the 80s we had 4 million years. This looks like it was probably about 1 million years where they saw this species evolve from proto apes into humanoid aliens here. So that was a nice bit of storytelling there. And then the reveal at the end that we've got this tablet, and I'm guessing that the next issue is going to reveal that this planet is hiding a bunch of Energon, and that's why the hills that the aliens are mining is filled with some form of energon that could then be used to revitalize the Cybertronians. So I'm guessing that's where the story's going. But I'm enjoying this. Also for Jeremy, there's a Robots in Disguise 2001 character in Wedge from the Build team.
Going
there.
to point that out.
Oh, sorry.
No. It's fine. It's always great to see an RID 2001 character show up.
Yeah.
What are the other ones? How many others can you point out there, Charles?
I'll let Jeremy take over. But yeah, I just really I thought this was really fun. Also, the art, EJ Sue's art is great. I guess Nick Roche does all the flashback scenes, and Nick Roche does all the modern day scenes. I thought both artists did a great job. The colors were also awesome from Joanna Natalie was the colorist, I believe. Or no, Rebecca Nalty. Rebecca Nalty was the colorist, and I think her colors have been great for this series. And yeah, Joanna Natalie doing the letters and design. I think the lettering is actually nice. The way they like all the bad Cybertronians have purple bubbles, and then Rodimus has his like yellowish bubble. Nice. It's a nice way contrast for all the characters too. So yeah, that's overall great book. So I'm gonna pass it over to Jeremy. Sorry again for stealing your thunder.
No, it's fine. But yeah, Wedge is great. Well, I guess he's not so great in here, but it's great seeing an RD 2001 character back. Also, Wild Wheel was that he was introduced in what was the series after
Cyberverse?
Cyberverse. Yeah, he was the Western Decepticon.
Yeah.
So I love how they're picking like characters from just all over and putting them in here. Another thing on the lettering, Rodimus, he has that color, but he also has a normal rounded speech bubble, kind of because he's been around humans for so much. He like has their speech patterns and stuff. And I thought that was cool, while the other ones are kind of in more boxy robotic bubbles. So lots of little things that are just kind of, they're subtle, but they really add on to the book. This was just fun all around. I thought it was very dynamic, particularly like after Rodimus got energized, and it just seems like the action scenes were just so dynamic. And after such, slow moving stuff, very deliberate pacing, it was a real shift, but it really worked in this book the way it was drawn. And I don't know. Like I said, this has been just an enjoyable series all around, and I really like even these like new characters they're including, like Shib, and this is a really unique story, something we haven't really seen in Transformers before, and it's great. And I'm looking forward to seeing how it ends up. It's just I don't know if it can end without Rodimus sacrificing himself to like be the last bot, but having to give up everything to save the people on this planet. So I'm just, I can't wait till the next issue comes out.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. All right, Apollo, what did you think of this series so far?
Well, I actually have kind of tuned out of IDW. I think I told you guys, like, I stopped reading it like a month ago. In general, but I really did enjoy this issue, and I'm gonna have to try to read the other issues in this story. I think it was really good. I really enjoyed the interactions between the characters, and I also really liked how Shib had that key, and it really reminded me of Transformers Animated with Sari and her key in that series. So I don't know if that's like a homage to that, but most likely it probably is. But I thought that was really cool, and I really liked that sequence when Rodimus got powered up by the key. And I want to know how this is going to end. So, so The one thing I did comment on, because maybe I was just reading it on the screen, is that the blue bubbles for the Autobot characters talking were really light at the top of them, and it made it kind of hard to read. But I think that's most likely because I was reading this on a screen versus it being printed, because color looks different on screen versus printed because of how light works. So
it might also be that it's a review copy, so their watermark plays with the colors sometimes.
Okay, yeah, because it just looked really faded on here, but I imagine a printed copy of this would look fine. So, but I liked it. I liked the art, and I liked it as a mix of everything, action, dialogue, etc.
Cool. And Daryl, what did you think?
I enjoyed it. I liked all the characters that were on this kind of ragtag group of group of bots running around, kind of getting fuel. I think we discussed it last time. Their way of getting fuel is kind of gross, but they figured out a way to do it. So that's what they do. They're just kind of surviving. You get a lot of information about Wheelie, and I was trying to put together this timeline here, and unfortunately they only show what would be 4 generations, I guess, of Shib's family. The passing down of this information, this box, and that would be what, 25 years ish per generation. So
they're aliens, so who's to say that it's that long?
I don't think these are 4 I don't think these are just 4 generations. I think it's like generation 1, then I don't know, 1,000 years, then this. I think these are glimpses. I think there's probably hundreds of generations between these. But these little images.
It's clear that the younger kid in the
is the
one
parent
above
of the
it
next
is the
one.
older.
That's obvious, right? Like, each one of these is directly into the next, right? So, the child in the final one is Shib, right? Because the Rodimus stagecoach is right there. So, I
feel like they could just live longer than humans.
It's possible.
I don't think it's necessarily clear that each child is the character in the next one. I think it could be a lot more generations in between.
I'm going to disagree with you on that. I think it's very clear. I'm
going to ask Nick Roche on Twitter.
You do that. You do it. Please do.
I'll be right.
You tag us in those tweets, or do you need me to do it? Because I don't know do you know how to use Twitter?
I'll figure it out. It out. Don't worry.
But yeah. So the timeline, I was trying to figure that out here, and regardless of that, I still really liked the fact that Wheelie ends up being this this character of reverence for this crew. Because it's funny because everyone hates Wheelie, and they still hate him. That's why they don't power him up. But even when they do power him up, they still show him respect because he's so freaking old. So yeah, I really like that. And even Rodimus hates him. He's like, God, it's Wheelie. For God's sakes, it's Wheelie. And they still, I like the fact that it was Wheelie. It was a great pick by Nick to choose Wheelie as the veteran. When I agree with Apollo that the key that Shib uses to power up Rodimus is a direct reference to animated. Like, that's what I saw as well. And yeah, that's that's an obvious callback as well. I loved the violence in this issue. The death of Moon, the death of all these other characters, some by Rodimus and some just, because of him or around him, his own crew, his own Autobots. And then there's this other crew around him. Just I loved it. It was great. It's nice to see some action here. And him punting Wheelie into outer space. That's a hell of a kick. Regardless of whether this planet is, tiny or not, that's a one hell of a kick. So, he's saying he's not functioning at 100%, but still, that's a mighty boot on this lad. I did definitely like this one. Lots of action, and I'm very much looking forward to it. The end. I think 4 is the end, right? We're done at 4.
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah, that's a shame. I've been enjoying this one.
Yep. Cool. Yeah. I mean, one also additional point this makes me feel a little bit bad about being a meat eater here. I mean, this is kind of a subtle promotion of vegetarianism here. It's like, maybe you should think about where your food comes from. I think is the subtle message of this comic. So, because
nah. Cows don't have sophisticated brains.
Well, I mean, that's what the Cybertronians would say about these aliens here.
And, they might be right.
But, yeah. All right. Well, that is our review of Last Bot Standing number 3, eagerly awaiting issue number 4. But in the meantime, we'll move on to talk about Transformers media news.
All right, in media news this week, we got a bunch of stuff from SDCC to talk about. The first up is EarthSpark. So we mentioned it briefly in the toy show, but they talked a lot about EarthSpark, and they showed off the toys, which we talked about, but they talked a lot about the show. So the show itself is going to be... did we get a date? I don't think we got a date.
Not yet.
We got a trailer. Fall. Yeah, we got a trailer for it, which was cool, and you can watch that on the site. It is region locked, so VPN it up, or sorry about your luck. It's the Americans run the world, and that's just something you have to get used to. But we did get some more information, and we did get a list of cast. So this cast is interesting. So we'll talk about it a bit here. But so we've got a full listing here, and starting off with Alan Tudyk, who's playing Optimus Prime. And Alan Tudyk is a very famous actor, and he's done lots of voice work in the past. Very famous for being on, he was in Star Wars, wasn't he? He was a droid.
K2SO in Rogue One.
Rogue One, and man, I can see Firefly. That was the name of the show I was thinking of. Yeah,
I was going to let him just flail.
I can picture him in everything. He was in Transformers already. He was the butler in
Dark of the Moon.
Dark of the Moon. Yeah,
Dark of the Moon. Yeah,
yeah. So he's been in everything. Like, he's been in so much. I'm trying to think of other things he's been in. I can just see him in everything though. So why can I not think of anything else he's been in right now? Anyway, it doesn't matter.
He's got a show on Sci-Fi, Resident Alien. That's what he's recently been in.
That's what he's doing right now, yeah. He used to do a Comic-Con show, which was kind of fun. I used to like watching that. Then you've got Rory McCann, I think it's Rory McCann. He's going to play Megatron, and he's best known for being the Hound in Game of Thrones. So if you watch that show, big tough guy. With a big tough voice.
Seeing people talking about him being Hound, I'm like, he was never in Transformers before this. I've never seen Game of Thrones, so.
And then we've got
not Hound, the Hound.
The Hound, yes.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Then we got Danny Pudi, and he is going to play Bumblebee, and he's best known for his work on Community. I have a feeling he's been in a Transformers movie as well, as just like a side character or a side role. Maybe I'm thinking of something else.
No, you're thinking of Ken Jeong in Dark of the Moon. He was a Community character who was in.
Yeah, he was. There was a small little like character that Danny Pudi played. He was like on a ship, like a naval officer or something like that. It was a comedic.
EarthSpark is his first Transformers credit on IMDb.
Is it? Okay. Then there's Sissy Jones as Alita 1. And my daughter tells me she's on an owl show. I don't.
Looks like the Owl House.
The Owl House. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
She's done a lot of video game work. Walking Dead Telltale video game. Evil Dead the game. She was in Tiger and Bunny, so that's another anime.
Oh, okay. Very cool. And we've got Catherine Kavari, and they are Twitch Malto, and they have been in Dead End Paranormal Park. I think that's a video game, is it?
TV series.
Oh, is it? Okay. Never heard of it. But
she played Miss Marvel in a Spider-Man TV series 2018 through 2019.
Oh.
And looks like also played Miss Marvel in many video games and stuff. So.
Oh. Then we've got Zeno Robinson, and they're playing Thrash Malto. They've been seen in Big City Greens. I don't know what that is.
Or My Hero Academia.
Oh. You think that would be bigger?
My daughter likes Big City Greens.
Yeah.
Oh, is it? Okay. Is it an anime?
Oh.
Big City Greens is a Disney cable show.
Okay.
Oh,
she likes that.
He's also on Young Justice. That's pretty cool. He plays Victor Stone, Cyborg.
Oh. Diedrich Bader is playing Mandroid, and Diedrich Bader's been around a long time. He was in Office Space. He was the neighbor in Office Space. He was on the Drew Carey Show back in the day. His credit that they're showing here in the article is Better Things. I've never heard of that, but
he was Batman in Batman Brave and the Bold.
Ah, okay. There's some voice work there.
He was Randor in Masters of the Universe Revelation.
Oh, cool. So Mandroid is the main villain in this, and he's a scientist, soldier, and he's got he's a bad guy.
So it seems like the implication is that Megatron is not the villain, is not a villain in the show.
Well, I'm having a feeling I have a feeling it's going to be like that the G1 comic with where is the I don't know, the junk guy teams up with the Megatron.
Oh, Robot Master?
Yeah, that one. Something like that.
See.
Although Mandroid seems a lot more kind of cyborgish. So yeah. The rest of the cast here is I think they're kids. So there's Robbie Malto. These are all the character names. Robbie Malto, Morgan Mo Malto, Dot Malto, and Alex Malto. So it seems like the Transformer characters are interacting with the Malto family and trying to kind of stop Mandroid and Megatron.
Yeah. Maybe.
Maybe. Yeah.
One thing, so looking at the press release that they sent out, there was a very funny typo here for Megatron. When they talk about Megatron, it says he's the father of the Decepticon Faticon. I think they meant faction, but the letters got transposed and it says Decepticon Faticon.
Mm-hmm.
So
funny. Either way, this is going to be the kids show. It's some talented voice casting. The biggest thing to know about this voice cast is that they are union. So there's a lot of talented actors and voice actors here. It's going to be expect high quality voice acting out of this. And the animation, this is all being done by that Boulder Studios, right? So, or Boulder Media, I believe it's called. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe so. The Irish studio.
That's right. Yeah.
And Nick Roche did designs for characters. He did design.
That's right.
He did designs for what's her name? Twitch. He did her design.
Oh, did he? Okay.
I believe so. I believe he put it on Twitter. It was.
Let's look at the nose.
You heard of Twitter, right?
Maybe
yeah,
while
he
you're,
posted the art on there a while ago.
Yeah, while you're checking up on how Daryl and I are right, you can also confirm that.
But does anybody, Apollo, maybe chime in on what your reaction is to the EarthSpark casting and all that kind of stuff, that news about the new show?
I'm really excited to see this show. I like that they introduced new characters for both the bots and, and the human cast. Like, I really like the human cast so far of what we've seen of them. And, any new Transformers show is good. It's good news whenever there's new stuff being made. But I really liked what Boulder Studio did for Cyberverse. And, they have a lot of experience now animating for Transformers. So I'm really looking forward to this. I'm very happy to hear that the voice acting's being done by union voice actors, because I know that's been, something in the past that they didn't do the last few shows for Transformers. So it's nice that they went in that direction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Jeremy, what are your thoughts on this show as far as like the because we saw the toys and the toys are a little lackluster, but that's the toys for the kids. What do you think of the quality of the way the show looks? We've gotten a trailer that
Yep.
I haven't been able to see, but you have.
I have. I watched it with my kid, and we both, like, I hadn't watched it until I saw it with him, and we both enjoyed it. It's not even a trailer. It's like a clip of, like, it's about 6 minutes long.
Oh, wow.
So you get a good sense. I mean, it's very early on in the series, clearly, but I enjoyed it. It seems like it'll be a show that parents can watch with kids and enjoy, both can get enjoyment out of it. But essentially it's like the family has moved from Philadelphia to a small town, apparently in here. It's named Witwicky. Don't know where they got that. But no, but it's, and they know what Transformers are, because when they encounter one, they're like, "You're a Transformer." So it's like we're being set in this world where Transformers are already a known quantity, and that's interesting to me as well. And I'm really excited to watch it with my kid to kind of see it through his eyes. But I think it's really good, really smart of them to put out such a long clip that, most of us can see. I really wish that they wouldn't region lock it, since Paramount Plus is supposed to be a worldwide thing.
Here it's not.
I was sure it was coming to Canada, but I'll download that clip for you and send it over.
I'll just use my VPN.
All right. But anyway, it looks fun, and Transformers are supposed to be fun. I am excited for Alan Tudyk. I in my mind, I want to hear Optimus Prime talk like K2SO, and that would just be hilarious. It's not, but he's also not trying to do Peter Cullen. He's somewhere kind of in the middle. And
well, he tweeted out when this was announced. He said he's going to be he's voicing him like a long haul trucker. Right.
I mean, and for everyone that has done Optimus Prime and tried to sound like Peter Cullen, it has been a subpar performance. When we have had shows that don't do that, like already 2001, and like the Universe or Unicron trilogy and stuff, those are those own actors' takes on Optimus Prime. They're not trying to imitate Cullen, and the shows are better for it. Mm-hmm. So I'm looking forward to that. I really want to see or hear what they do with Megatron, because we saw in the chat here earlier, I think it's way back now, but one of the show designers mentioned that they based their, like, someone put a screen cap of like one little bit of Megatron that we see and a Megatron from the IDW comics, and they were like nearly identical in design, and the guy confirmed that they did base it. Well, he said they based it off the Fury model, which was based off of IDW.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was really interesting to me.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for something different, and I think this will be fun. So I'm just looking forward to it.
Charles, what say you? This voice cast is a lot of people that you might have heard of before, and then we've got a lot of kids. So it's an interesting choice of actors to portray some interesting some big roles and some big names. Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always happy to see that the voice cast is top notch. That's great. I think I did get a chance to watch the trailer as well, and it looked really exciting and interesting. So I am definitely on board for this show. It looks like it'll be fun. It'll be something new and different with the focus on the two kind of Earth created Cybertronians. So I like that idea and that concept that. It was kind of like the these new Cybertronians basically imprinted on the humans, and that's like how they were born or forged or whatever. So that's why they're particularly, I guess, EarthSparks.
Mm-hmm.
TM. It looks interesting. I am curious to see how the Decepticons fit in. There are like in addition to Megatron, there are other Decepticons in the show. Like there is a brief in the 6-minute trailer. There's a brief vision of Bombshell, the Insecticon there.
Oh damn!
Doing something. So so there are more Decepticons in the show. And how they fit in and how the world is and what the state of the humans' relationship with Transformers is a question that I am looking forward to getting the answers for.
Cool. Now, I want to ask you another question. This pertains to the Malto family as being, I think, probably the first family of color to be represented on Transformers media. What do you think of that?
That was definitely a positive. Yeah, I was happy to see that. Also from Philadelphia, that's my hometown. So
oh damn, okay, I didn't know that. Okay,
yeah. So
is there a town in Philadelphia called Witwicky?
I don't believe so, but we can take over some random town in the middle of Pennsylvania and rename it to Witwicky. That's fine.
There's a lot of space in the middle of Pennsylvania that can just be renamed.
But yeah, I mean, so we've had black characters in Transformers before. I mean, in Transformers Prime, we had the Ernie Hudson's character, Agent Fowler. Agent Fowler, yeah. So, but yeah, now having the focus on a black family here as the main human characters in the show, I think that's very cool. That's very nice to see in addition to Transformers media. So yeah, that's a cherry on top of the ice cream sundae that is Transformers EarthSpark.
Right on. Okay, good. Right on. And like I said, we don't have much left for media news, but the last two pieces are for TV and streaming, and we got another one of the G1 cartoon storyboards becoming available online, and it's for the episode Atlantis Arise. Go ahead and take a look for the storyboard. Man, I don't know what happened, but the Sunbow Archives are making all this stuff available. So if you're a nerd like me and into this stuff, take a look at this, and it's some really cool stuff. And the last thing is that if you have been waiting for Transformers War for Cybertron Earthrise to become available digitally, well, your wait is over. It is available in 3 locations, and those are Vudu, iTunes, and Amazon Video. So hopefully that is what you've been waiting for if you didn't see it before when it was on Netflix, but it is available now for purchase. And that's it for
it's still on Netflix.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, it hasn't left Netflix, so
I thought it had gone.
It's Netflix owned, right? Like, they don't think they'd get rid of it, right?
Wild.
Well, I mean, eventually the deal will end. Like the Marvel shows have now moved to Disney Plus.
Oh, that's true.
All right, well, that's all there is for media news.
We will move on to convention news.
All right. First up in convention news, during San Diego Comic-Con weekend, Hasbro announced that PulseCon is coming back Friday, September 30th and Saturday, October 1st. You can register your email at hasbropulse.com/PulseCon22 to get on the notification list. This has been a fun thing that Hasbro has started the last couple of years, and we will get tons of reveals. And they had like Cybertronic Spree one year, so they make it entertaining. So if you want to just sit and have YouTube on in the background those days, it'll probably be worth it. So I'm looking forward to it, and it'll just be something to do in September. So we'll have more on that as it gets closer, I'm sure. The next we have some TF Nation updates. First is that Simon Furman is going to be attending. He has done so much from G1 to more recent stuff. Transformers 84 Secrets and Lies was excellent. So he will be there only on the Saturday of TF Nation, which will, the convention is August 12th through 14th. So he will only be there on the 13th. So if you want to meet him and, get some things signed or just have a talk with him, make sure you're there on the Saturday. Next we have, it is not really a surprise, but James Roberts is going to be attending. Can you believe it has been a decade since More Than Meets the Eye and Robots in the Sky has started?
Yes.
So he is going to be there. And I just tell stories and everything about the series and just probably, I would think, the legacy of the series, because it's just had impact in so many different things. And then from one writer to another, Brian Ruckley is going to be there, who is the writer of the recently ended continuity. He basically had his hands from the beginning to the end with just a few other writers here and there. So he will be there. I believe this is his first Transformers convention. I don't know if he's been to any other TF Nations, but it'll be good seeing him there. And I'm interested to see if he'll make his way over to any UK or US conventions in the future. So that's all we have here for my part of convention news. But I think, Apollo, you were going to talk about CybFest Northwest and your experience there and how that convention went.
Yeah, thanks, Jeremy. So, yesterday, by the time the show comes out, it'll have been Saturday, July 23rd, was CybFest Northwest. It's a convention that takes place in Kent, Washington, which is a little south of Seattle, Washington. It was at the Kent Commons Community Center. The convention primarily took place in two rooms. At the convention, there was a panel room with panels going throughout the day. And then there was a room called the West Gym, which had rows of tables that were vendors selling toys, artists. There was also a raffle for some prizes for toys and an art contest. We got there a little late because the traffic from the Portland area to Seattle is very unpredictable, and it usually always goes for the worst. But it was just a lot of fun going and checking out the show. Like, I was able to see most of the IDW artists panel that was hosted by Mike Seibert, who's a friend of the show, and he has his own podcast called the Mike Seibert Radio Show. And the artist he was interviewing was Billy, who goes by Cosmic Danger Zone on Twitter, and then Blackie, who's Art Devil 313 on Twitter. And it was a really good panel. It was really cool hearing about the artists, and they were both from the Pacific Northwest, and it was just interesting hearing from them and their creative process, and how they felt about working on IDW artwork for Transformers and what they're excited about doing possibly in the future. So that was a really good panel. The big room, which was a mixture of dealer's hall and artist alley, was a lot of fun. There were so many different treasures in there. There was a mixture of G1 stuff, Beast Wars, Siege, Earthrise, Legacy. There's all sorts of things in there. There were two artists. I talked about this in the main show. There are two artists that I met. One of them was brand new. Two that I didn't know about. It is Ashley Artley on Twitter. Her art was really fabulous. And the other person who I knew from Twitter before, but it was nice to meet them, was Eric Cappuccino, who just starts screaming on Twitter, and I got a print from them as well. So it was just a lot of fun, being at a Transformers convention again. I haven't been to a convention for Transformers since TFCon DC 2019. I had planned on going to when TFCon Florida in 2020, but that never happened. So it's been a long time for me since I've gone to a Transformers convention in person. So I really enjoyed it. I plan on going back next year, and maybe I'll do another panel for it. I did a panel for them in 2020 with Wasabi on Twitter, that's their username on Twitter, and maybe I'll do a panel for them or something next year. But highly recommend it if you're in the Pacific Northwest, and it's only for a day. So I'll definitely be a regular at this convention.
Awesome. Yeah, it seems like that was a fun show. Just getting back to conventions, it kind of re-energized me coming back from TFCon.
No, yeah, I was just going to say I agree with you on that, Jeremy. Like, I feel like re-energized, about Transformers and creating artwork, just being around people who are so passionate about this franchise, and talking about their love of it, so it was just a really good show, and I'm glad I went.
Cool. Yeah, so that is it for convention news this week.
All right, and we will finish up the show with a little bit of feedback. So we have a voicemail from our good friend, John 4X Levingood.
Hey guys, John 4X Levingood here again. So I was just recently listening to the most recent All Mode, and I heard something, and I kind of agree with you guys. I would like to see more Transformer stories that don't involve big players. No, don't get me wrong. I love Optimus Prime, Megatron, Bumblebee, Starscream, etc., etc., etc. However, the Transformer stories really does feel like it's a story told of the generals. And I would like to see a story told of the soldiers. You bring in new characters or bring in characters that have deep pulls or whatnot that aren't as thing. But, talk about the infantryman. Talk about the supply sergeant. Bring those in. Bring in the everyman who showed up. One of the things I enjoyed about the early run of the latest comic run was Rubble. I was looking forward to looking at the story through the eyes of a new character before what happened to him happened to him. So anyhow, that's my thoughts. That's my 2 cents. We'll talk to you later. Bye.
Yeah, thanks, John, for sending that in. Definitely agree with you I would love to see Transformer stories focused on the kind of rank and file characters. And yeah, I mean, it's rare that we get that. I mean, we have had some shows that have focused on that. I think Robots in Disguise 2015, that Bumblebee was the main character, but we had Bumblebee and a bunch of other new bots who were, or different versions of bots that were not as well known. We've had in the comics, we had with More Than Meets the Eye and Robots in Disguise. I thought those both had their casts were some featured a lot of prominent lower tier characters, particularly More Than Meets the Eye. You had a large cast of lower tier characters that had not gotten the spotlight before and were turned into awesome characters in their own right, just on the strength of their writing and storytelling in that series. So, I mean, I definitely think it could be done. I mean, I know from a Hasbro marketing standpoint, it kind of doesn't make sense to take, your biggest characters out of the series, and especially with all the money you put into an animated production in particular. But yeah, I mean, I at least I hope that with EarthSpark they are focusing on the new characters, the Thrash and Twitch, and hopefully that cast is expanding. And that the bigger characters are being more as the mentor or background figures. But I guess we'll see. I mean, I think that's one of the strengths of Transformers is that it can keep growing and changing and adding to the lore, adding new characters and you do that by introducing new characters and making them the focus for a little while. So yeah, totally agree with you, John. Any other thoughts? Maybe Apollo, what are your thoughts in that direction?
Yeah, I agree with that, and I think that's really why I liked, More Than Meets the Eye and Lost Light so much was, we had like a cast of characters, other than like Rodimus and, Megatron. They were just like, they weren't these like high and mighty, like, as he was saying, the general characters. These are just like minor characters, but they were given a backstory, like Trailbreaker and, it's just, and Whirl and, and Swerve. It was a really fun series. And, I like to see more of that, even though I'm a huge Starscream fan and I can't get enough of Starscream. I think it'd be nice to see stuff that's different, and I think that's why, like, for example, I'm so excited about this EarthSpark show is because we have some new bots, that were born on Earth. I haven't seen the trailer yet, so I'm going to have to watch that. But they're doing some new things in that show just from what I've seen of like the promotional artwork and stuff that I'm really excited about. So, I think we need to get some more stories about more minor characters. I think there's a lot of stories to tell that haven't been told, or, maybe, I've seen this idea floating around Twitter, but maybe we have a female Prime, like Alita 1, maybe make Alita 1 a Prime, and, things like that. There's a lot of different stories that we can tell with the characters. I feel like Optimus and Megatron, and this was actually talked about yesterday at CybFest during the IDW panel. The Optimus versus Megatron and the war is a story that has been told over and over again. And, I like, that story, otherwise I wouldn't have liked Transformers, but, we can tell other stories besides that story. We have over 35 years of history with these characters.
Yeah, definitely. All your points are good ones. All right, Daryl, what did you think?
Well, if it's been a long time, but if you'll recall, I had pitched a story to you all a long time ago about basically doing a comic series just like this, where maybe not mentioning Megatron, but where Optimus was essentially a figurehead, and your story or your comic revolved around these. It was essentially Lower Decks, right? It was essentially Lower Decks, but not as goofy, right? So you would only hear about Optimus, as did you hear that Optimus fought Megatron today? Oh, that's cool. What happened? Oh, well, Optimus kicked the shit out of him. Oh, awesome. Okay, cool. All right. Well, what's happening now? Okay, well, Optimus and, it's just, it's essentially water cooler talk as the bots go around and do their missions, and they, and they report to their supervisors who report to their supervisors and stuff like that. And it's their day to day. The problem is it's not as exciting as the lives of the executive branch, right? So it's got a lot of appeal to it, and I like the idea of doing, maybe a mini series or something like that. But I think it would get, unless it's written very well, like you could make it, a compelling story out of that. I think it would probably get tiresome after a while. Like, okay, well, I get it. These lower rank and file guys, they don't do anything exciting, so you'd have to find a way to make those characters exciting. But I love the idea of these bots existing in the cogs of this giant machine, but never ever interacting with Optimus or Megatron, right? They know of him as this king or this figurehead of the movement, and just following him because of the stories they've heard and that kind of stuff. It's a very compelling way of kind of storytelling, but I think you'd have to write it really well to keep it going, or you'd have to limit it. You'd have to keep it to like 6 issues or something like that. But I love that idea. We've talked about it before. I know we have, because I've had this idea for a long time. But yeah, it's I think it'd be a really great idea.
Yeah, I would buy that.
I know you would.
All right, Jeremy, what do you think?
I think it's one of the reasons why I'm so excited about EarthSpark, because it is introducing a lot of new ideas. I mean, we have a lot of legacy characters coming along, but they are introducing like these 2 new Earthborn Transformers, and I want the creatives to just keep pushing the envelope and keep trying new things. I mean, look at what we just saw in Last Spot Standing. Lots of new things there, and characters from just various different incarnations of Transformers brought in. Like, when was the last time Wedge was in any kind of fiction? It was likely in 2001. So, things like that are bring along these characters and just do something with them, that the characters that are not, your big hitters like Optimus and Megatron and whatnot, but you can do something still having them in there. Like, from what I get about EarthSpark, I think Optimus won't be a major, well, he'll probably be a major presence, but it's for kids. So Bumblebee's going to be, again, the main thing, but we're going to just have these new characters and all these human characters. So I'm hoping when the new comic things are announced that they are going to kind of do something that subverts our expectations a little bit, just kind of like what we got with the 2012 kind of soft reboot of Transformers in the comics, where Optimus and Megatron were basically off the table for an extended period of time, and the writers had to just come up with interesting stories with all these other characters, and the brand was better for it. So that's all I'm looking for, is just interesting stories that we haven't seen before.
Yep, I agree. All right. Well, thanks, John, for sending in that voicemail. We always appreciate your voicemails. Keep them coming. And that takes us to the end of this episode of Transmissions Alt Mode. As always, we end the show by giving a shout out to our masterpiece donatrions. And that is John Forex Levengood and Demon Tech 82. Thank you guys for continuing to support the show at our highest Patreon level. Really appreciate it. And Apollo, thanks again for joining us this week. Why don't you tell everyone where they can find your awesome artwork online?
Thank you. Yeah, I had a lot of fun being on again. I hope I can be on for regular schedule. It's just been kind of crazy the last few months. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at RoboApollo. I had taken a break from doing my artwork, but I plan on drawing some stuff and posting some artwork pretty soon, so stay tuned. I'm also on the Transmissions Discord, and if you're listening to this on a podcast, I suggest that you join the Transmissions Discord server. It's a really fun group of Transformer fans, because we're all fans here, and you can chat Transformers with people.
Yep. Check us out. Transmissionspodcast.com/Discord. That's where you can sign up get on the Discord. All right, everyone. Thanks again for listening, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Later.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Transmissions. If you'd like to join the conversation, travel to our Discord channel at transmissionspodcast.com/Discord. Want some cool transmission swag? Feast your eyes on our transmissions gear at transmissionspodcast.com/shop. If you'd like to support our podcast, go to transmissionspodcast.com/support or tell your friends about our show. We'll see you next time.